on YouTube, so they'll see us as well. Um, you know, I'm pretty sure my screens are probably showing through my glasses. We let the people on YouTube kind of get to us, and I will just say for what it is. No, as I became more informed, just like playing sports, people that know I play football. As I became more informed, I became more confident in what my skills were. In high school, I was just kind of okay and I could play and what have you. Could have been a lot better if I had played with the same veracity that I did when I started playing semi-pro. I played a lot more aggressively. I just knew the game better. I probably missed it having spent some time away in uh, the military and what have you. But when it came to this stuff and learning the stuff and how to navigate through the court system, I'm the product of not being able to afford adequate legal representation. And for those who are just joining us on YouTube or who may see it, the question was, did I always, uh, what makes me talk like I do when I'm inside a courtroom or I guess city council meetings? Is it me? Yes, it's me. It's 100% authentic. The probably thing that's probably the least authentic, if you're going to use that word, would be that it's difficult for me not to curse. But yeah, especially when I start to get a little bit amped about some of the things that I do know is the things I know are improper. So hopefully that answers your question, and I'm not trying to avoid anything at all.
Do you think part of that is knowing that actually, like, you knowing what you know that you feel comfortable with? I can say whatever the fuck I want to say because I know what the fuck I know. Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry. Oh, fuck, my bad, my
yeah,
bad.
we're on the YouTube. Hopefully they don't get us out of there. Absolutely, my confidence comes from the knowledge. And what probably hopefully came out within the for those who get a chance to watch the latest premiere or what have you is as I became more confident, as I got more repetition in doing this, naturally you become more confident. It's like you spinning on the wheels of steel. Like you and I are in our 50s.
Right.
I couldn't DJ with the new stuff because I'm not even familiar with it. I'm was all vinyl. I could do digital stuff as far as mixing and blending and putting together a mixtape or one of those things or a CD and that kind of stuff. But as far as if I had to open live DJ, um, I just couldn't do it with what they have now. I can cut, mix, and scratch and blend and all that stuff, but I can't. I've never used any of the new equipment. So I'm sure you're more confident now, X number of years into DJing, than you were when you first started DJing.
You don't have the time to DJ right now. So, but if you did, you would be good because I'm gonna tell you what helps me with my age. With my age, whenever I do a gig, there's always somebody young saying, "You got this song."
Mm,
I do not have that song, but now I'm gonna put that song into an archive to where I know that that's what you like and that's what young people like. So therefore,
mhm.
I'm gonna make a play set with that song. So if you was still in it, you still would be who you is because they will completely come to you and tell you, "Hey, got this song. I want to hear this. I want to hear that." But that's just giving you the knowledge to let you know that, like, okay, that's what's popping right
What's
now.
actually popping right now? Right, right,
Right,
right.
right, right, right. You just
Yep.
not in it because you got other things to do. You got bigger fish to fry.
Much larger fish to fry, which is what brought us to this, right? Which is what brought us to where we are today, and like what made me the 1 in 10,000 or what have you. Um, and what I tell, and I got this from everybody knows the movie Django. They say he's that 1 in 10,000 ninja, and I I always say, wow, I don't really want to be. I don't think I'm special. I just think I had a story and I had to walk the path that I had to walk. But some things have transpired recently, and I think some people have asked me, but the people who actually know me knew what my background was when it comes to self representation my cases. And I guess now that you watched, or you're familiar with the ordeal between myself and Gregory Holder, who was at one time a judge in the 13th Judicial Circuit, who falsely accused me of perjury in an official proceeding. That was, I think, I won't say the denouement or the apex of what happened, but I think um, of what I've gone through. Well, it probably is. I was looking at 5 years in prison, and I self-represented. And you had asked me a question about something earlier, and I'm going to tell you, not only could I not afford, I mean, I don't know what I could have afforded as far as representation was concerned. Nobody wanted to help me because the person who had accused me was a sitting judge um, at the
And when you're
time.
against that,
Right. And I was even told when I filed my lawsuit in federal court that was the issue. So to do some background and some cleanup, one of the cases that came up was a case involving the mothers of a couple of mothers of my children. Well, one I wouldn't say is the mother of my children because
respectfully,
background. Huh?
before you say that, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
So child support is not like your main objective in what you actually do. Like you actually started this before there was a child support issue. So you've been doing it.
Well, child support brought me into self-representation. But you mean like the recent stuff? Oh, the recent stuff. My child support is done. Um, it was these are settled issues. I hadn't heard from these people in years. And then what happened was the case involving myself and Greg Holder. After that case terminated in my favor, all of a sudden, um, here comes the Department of Revenue coming back. But when they came back, the issue wasn't really child support. When they came back, and I'm getting ready to bring in my here we go. 647. When they came back, they were talking about uh, Medicaid, and it was 840 some odd dollars, and that's what it was that they wanted. And I just said, I'm not giving you $800 unless somebody can explain to me why I owe you $842 because I understand how Social Security works. Social Security is contributed by the taxpayers and is part of the general welfare fund of the United States. If the state's going to argue that they're entitled to it, I'm saying, okay, just show me legitimately why I would owe this money for whatever you're saying. We just never got that far. So when the hearing officer made a recommendation, I timely filed my motion to vacate, which would have stayed everything. But even that came back after years of the cases being dormant. It's my speculative belief that everything that I've gone through over the last 8 or 9 years, not 8 or 9 years, I'm sorry, what I've gone through since the holder, actually it's been 8 years because 2016 is when I acquired the properties. 2017, near the end, is when they filed the perjury charge. So I spent all that time from late 16 to 18, dealing with the housing issue. And then, the child support stuff was it came back a little bit during that time. And, I wasn't putting two and two together. I was never thinking they were going to retaliate against me. And then all of a sudden, here comes a whole barrage of things. I just kept dealing with them one by one and, kind of going through the process. And, through it, there's times where I would have capitulated to just paying like the reinstatement fees.
I was about to say that. I was about to say that you could have just paid the 849.
Right, well, like I did when it came time to reinstate my license, because under Florida law, let's say they suspend your license, you have one for 10 or 12 different things. You have to pay the total 10 or 12 reinstatements, and then the one license becomes reinstated. So I went through that kind of stuff, and I wasn't really wanting to do that. And family said, "Man, you listen, just do this and get back to fighting these people later on." So I was like, "Okay, cool." I'll fight damn near anything. And what I tell people is, you think about it, if I was willing to fight for the country, for people who done nothing to me, what do you think I'm gonna do for myself? for people who I can actually identify as having done something to me. So that's part of how that's hopefully that answered your question, and I wasn't not deflecting at all.
Definitely not deflecting.
So
Definitely not.
That's kind of how I got started doing it. And for those who need a little more clarity on some stuff, let's get to showing. And it's interesting we're doing this late at night because I guess old heads we be up just taking care of business, and there are people gonna probably think that this is so unfair that we didn't
Nah, this is a
show
blessing.
them.
This is what you wake up in the morning to.
Right. So you see on your screen the my Dropbox. And so in my Dropbox, you see all kinds of things. So people may not have known this stuff as part of because most people only know about me for child support, which is my niche audience. So we go into here, and here's the dockets. I'll pull up the small one because that's the one that seems to be drawing some attention. But at the end of every one of my dockets, at the very bottom, you can see when the case is terminated. And when a case terminates, it's done. Nobody's saying they couldn't bring it back, but right here it was terminated. What they would have to do is they couldn't bring back this case number. They would have to file a brand new case. So none of that's ever happened.
That's retaliation.
Well, speculatively, obviously objection, speculation, cause for state of mind or whatever the proper objection would be is what I would know they would raise. And so for each one of these cases that anybody who hits the Dropbox link on my main page, you'll see the same thing, and you'll see the same thing, termination of services. And we look at the dates of these cases are old cases. Like this termination date is 2015. This one I think is about the same, 2015. I believe they're all 2015. And I'll say this, I definitely did not know then what I know now. But it got the terminations came through. And as I started to look at some of the cases, what I realized is these two were like they destroyed the documents on this one right here, file destroyed. What would happen with this? I don't know. This one here is, yeah, this one here was closed out too. And what I don't do is because it's not really about the mothers when it comes to this stuff. They did what they did. Here's audio from hearings. Probably only 7. There's only 7 in here, but you go in here, you can hear some of the audio from some of my hearings. I don't know what all's in there, and but I have hundreds of other hearings or hundreds of other files, and people can go in there and look at that as well. So what I was doing, as you can see, is just going through the process, and after I finished the process, I was moving on along. And what came after this was just, especially once I ended up getting the properties, that's when things got interesting. I acquired properties via foreclosure sale, and I'll get to that later on, but let me show people some official dockets. Okay, so for those who don't know, and to answer your question, hopefully it makes sense to you, I have, and I need to actually update this because I have more cases that I've actually won for. And I don't suggest, and I even don't even like showing it this way because I don't want to encourage anybody to do anything that's going to put yourself at jeopardy. I was just willing to go through what I needed to go through in order to vindicate myself from whatever the situation may be. But as you can see, all these cases are self-represented. They get no process. So if you go through my Dropbox, you'll be able to see the same thing that I'm showing you now, where you can see where the case I was charged with, whatever the charge was, and you can always see what.
I say this respectfully. Say this respectfully that I feel like for the fact of for what you have been doing and what you actually have did, that now you like
Oh, you went away. We'll see if he comes back. But anyone who wants to look at these cases and some of these cases, actually, you can actually hear the audio from these cases via the Dropbox as well, and I'll show you all how to find that. But each one of these cases are in here, whatever the charge may have been. These are all you see are dismissed or no process. But every case that's in this Dropbox is a self-representation case, including when I went to jail for these things and had to fight my way through the process. This speeding ticket, which is an interesting one where I won that one, dismissed as well by the judge. And the big one, for those who don't know, I'll go to the felony driving. Now, there are more felony driving cases that got reduced to misdemeanors and then got dismissed. But the big case that I believe started everything, for those who don't know, which is where I think a lot of this new stuff has come from, is this case here. 17 CF 9089. You can go look it up. I was charged with perjury in an official proceeding. And as we can see, that case is dismissed as well. And you can get all this in the Dropbox on your own. I just wanted everybody to be able to see that. And what happened, and I'm speculating to this as well, when I filed the lawsuit in federal court, alleging that former Judge Gregory Holder, in his individual capacity, I said he had, because he had no jurisdiction, I didn't sue the judge. I sued the gentleman who was who might have been the judge by title, but I didn't sue him as a judge, because judges have absolute immunity even when they do things that are outside of what a judge normally would do. You have to be able to show that the judge is completely void of jurisdiction. And what my argument was is that at the time, he was absolutely without any jurisdiction whatsoever. So I'm going to go to my Pacer account, and this is where I think everything started. Let me see. And you're going to see something when you go into this as well. So give me a second. I had to go in and do my authentication, because I'm doing this to kind of clear up a few questions, hope for people, and maybe we can do another video a little bit later on. But yes, I have a Pacer account, and you can go in and see that I've filed several actions in federal court. You'll actually see my federal case involving United Parcel Service, which I had an attorney for, which we resolved. So let's do this right here. And by the way, child support cases are state cases. There's no reason for me to file a child support case in federal court. The one time that you see me as a defendant is when I removed a case to federal court, which is how I gained the understanding as to why child support cases are state actions, and federal courts tend to abstain from them. How? As you can see, I filed a motion for a temporary restraining order, and I'll tell people I definitely elevated in my writing over the years. This is 2000. I don't know what year this is. 2019. So I'll let you see that. Come on, let's go, people. But anybody who has a Pacer account can go look up my name. It's not like you don't know it. I don't have a alias in the federal court. So here you go. Emergency motion for temporary restraining order, trying to keep the Department of Revenue and everybody else from suspending my license because the believe is at the time, this is after I had my license. This is before Judge Fuson issued the order to reinstate the license, and you're going to see, because I believe there's transcripts for that one also, but you can get it. But he reinstated the license. I'm going to show you all that in a second. But this is the filing. You can always go and get the filing. In fact, I'll make it easier for you. I'll just download the filing and I'll put it in a file. And that way, if anybody who watches this say, "Hey, Greg, I want to see the filing you had," because I don't really have a Pacer account, I don't want to pay for them, which I damn sure understand, because none of this stuff is inexpensive. I'll say that. And the more you look into Pacer, the more expensive Pacer can become. The more you do stuff like this, and I know nobody wants to take that incur a debt they don't need to have. I should see 3 people. I only see 2. Try this right here. You have to unmute yourself and start your video back, DJ Mac. So, get some case background. This is for the Ball case, I believe, because the underlying case in the state court was the Ball case. There you go. And you have to unmute. I put this federal filing. So now everybody can see. You'll see this one. And if you ask why, yeah, I can hear you now. I'm going over the Pacer case where, because somebody said my case in federal court was something for child support. I don't have a child support case in federal court. I know that you can't file a child support case in federal court. I removed.
Can I ask you a question though?
Yes, sir.
Is they cases?
Say again.
Are they cases public?
Are my cases public?
No, are they cases public? Can you see their cases?
I don't. The person who made the statement, I don't know. I haven't seen anything that they posted. I don't have a problem showing anything I've ever done because it's public record. And I didn't come into this to turn it into a business, so to speak, like it is. Because when I first started doing this, it was back in 2000 and probably 9 or 10 or whatever. And once I came out of doing other things, I started saying, well, hey, I kind of got some relief going and other people had gotten relief. So I said, let me try to help more guys by doing this and doing other things. And I just continued to grow. So when things started coming back, especially as I became, I'll say, more savvy, things were happening. And you know, like this is the order from the federal court that explains to you why federal courts or courts of limited jurisdiction are empowered to hear only those cases within the jurisdictional power of the United States as defined by Article 3. Child support cases typically wouldn't fall into that category because child support cases are state cases. But I'll put this document inside of the same file folder. This is called an order of remand. And people can go through it. That way we don't spend hours doing things that aren't necessary. But I think for those who may know, and here you go, the clerk is directed to remand this case to the 13th Judicial Circuit in Hillsborough County, Florida. And they'll tell you why it had to be remanded as you go through this. But if you became a member and you go into one of my classes, I actually go over this order. So, and there's 20 some odd classes that you can go in there where I help guys, I show guys what I would do if I had a case today going through the same thing. It'd be a lot more smoother. And I also didn't have the luxury of having a me. You know, I had people who were telling me things who had never had any in-court experience. And so that's one of the things that I have. But let's go back to something else I would show people before. There's places where I'm the plaintiff, as you can see, in many instances. Me, Holder, me, Foster, these cases got closed out. This case is currently in, and I'll show it to you. I voluntarily dismissed this one, but then we can find all of them. This case is the case that's currently in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. So
this up to date?
Yeah. This right here is the middle district. You got to go into the 11th Circuit, and I'll go into the 11th Circuit and show you how to go there. But this case was where I filed a complaint alleging inter alia, among other things, malicious prosecution, conspiracy, and other things. So here you go. I ended up doing 5. This judge here used to be the chief judge of the 13th. As you can see, who I've sued. I amended it to kind of take out a couple of people, but essentially, this is my lawsuit in the federal court, and the bigger part of this lawsuit was the malicious prosecution, which I think they dismissed improperly. So we'll come out of this one. But if you want to see any of this, you can just go to Pacer and get it.
This public, anybody can find this.
Yeah, yeah. You know my name. Y'all know my name. Greg is what I go by because I went to Greg because people used to mess with my name when I played football. My name is Chagret. And my mom used to get mad because they can't get your name right. I'm like, really, Mom? My name is Chagret. So I get it. So I just would go by Greg, and that's just how that stuck. So, but I don't, for those who may remember or may say, like somebody told me, man, your voice sounded familiar. And I told him, I used to be a part of the Man Mindset. Shout out to Steve Dean Williams, who gave me my chops for doing radio, because he found me on another show, and I did over probably 3,000 total radio shows or blog shows with him, and between him, Sean McDowell, and some of the other guys. So I've been doing this for a while. But for those who don't know, Greg Doss is also DJ Squid. It's a little bit different now that I'm older, don't use the other inflection. But DJ Squid is also Greg Doss. And people didn't know that Greg and Squid were the same person because, before all YouTube, all they would hear is the voice. And I actually got that. I got that concept.
I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna find that.
My Squid is SQWYD. I actually got the concept from Phil Hendry because Phil Hendry did multiple voices on the radio, and also Schmidt and BJ are the same person, and people didn't know that. So go through here, you'll find the cases, and you can go through that and take your time to do whatever you want with that. So let's come out of here and go back to Pacer. And if you go to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which is the court right before the United States Supreme Court, you'll find me in my appeal. And by the way, I'm doing all of this self-represented.
So you just gonna put like on the internet, you just gonna put actual documents like you can look up, you can.
Yes. I welcome everybody to do that with anybody that you're dealing with.
I totally agree.
So here's my full docket. Everything from the civil appeal docket, if you want to see, because everything you have to do what's called a certificate of interested persons. And this is how I file. This is me. I draft everything for me, by the way. So it's not a secret, and for those who don't know, I did spend a little time as a legal assistant and a paralegal. So, and then you do all this other stuff. So the last thing I think I'm filing a motion for file replacement brief. But if you want to see my initial brief, let's try this. Control.
I'm glad you did that because I could see it better.
Yeah. Briefing notice, and by the way, what they say on you about making sure you file what you need to be filing, because they will get on your behind. You have to file, and if you want to read the rules. So I don't want to give any legal advice because what I'm doing here is not legal advice, nor should it be construed to be legal advice. It's just two DJs having a conversation. But you asked me some questions and made some suggestions to me, and I'm like, okay, I really don't care about the other stuff, but I think I'm more concerned about the shot at credibility, and this shows that I've been doing what I've been doing for a long time. And I don't suggest people run off into any of this. I always suggest you get an attorney. That's just me. And because the nuances are where you get stuck. And I pay money to attorneys for consultations, what have you. I'm trying to find where this is appellant brief. Let's see, it's appellant. On the appellant. And I got an extension to file. Oh, that's for my appendix, my appellate brief. They denied that, so I ended up paying it. Brief notice, appearance, certificate of person. Where's my time since I don't need that? I'm trying to find my initial brief. There we go. I know I have the actual brief in another folder, but I want you all to actually see the actual appellant brief. So that's me. Every time you'll see this certificate of interested person if it changes. So here you'll see the table of contents. My request for oral argument, which is why I really want this to kind of go through. I'm just concerned in you citing, but everything you see here, yeah, I drafted.
So right now you dealing with.
I'm taking on all these entities.
Not child support. You dealing with what's up to date and what you're dealing with right now.
Yeah, the child support stuff.
You way past child support.
Right. The child support cases, or what you saw they did, is what I believe to be retaliation because I'm actively moving hard at this issue here. Which, if you think about it, with the parties who are concerned, you're talking about a former sitting judge, the city of Tampa, the sheriff. He's named, but he's less of an issue. But the bigger issue is, look at who some of these people here would all be talking about judges that are witnesses in my case. Because during the case, which we're fixing the audio on, but the one that you saw where it's the where you can actually hear me in court defending the perjury charge, a lot of these judges that I disqualified, I listed as witnesses. The bigger issue is the houses and the over $1 million worth of properties that they took from me improperly without due process. And the fact that I know what they were doing in Hillsborough County was improper.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. A little bit louder so people can hear you.
How do you disqualify a judge?
How did I disqualify?
Or how did you disqualify a judge?
Good question, but hopefully everybody can see this so you can all go in and pull it up yourself. Just go to 11. If you have a PACER account, just go to 11th Circuit Court of Appeals and you'll see what I filed. So you want to see the disqualification of a judge. Let's do
that. And did you disqualify one judge or more than one judge?
More than one
judge. Shit. I'm sorry. Damn.
And it was a felony case. And I've also done my own auto negligence cases. I've done a couple of those. So here's a case everybody's talking about.
So you're just gonna keep pulling up actual documents?
Yeah, it's public record anyway. And you can see the parties. The state of Florida brings the action, events. The beautiful thing about Hoover is you can see everything. And if you don't live in Florida, that's y'all's own fault. So let's see. And you see how much was done. Let's see. I do Control F. There you go. That's one of them. This is back in the day when I was putting all kinds of stuff in my filings. I wouldn't necessarily do that. You see how Haynes versus Kern is not proper. I wouldn't use that right now, but I like this Matthew using thing that had to do with biblical law or something. But I just went to the statutes and just background and filed my motion to dismiss disclosures. Judge, actually, it's going to move to disqualify Judge Nash. He first denied it. Continuing presence of Holder's influence. My writing has definitely evolved. Have reason to fear. I'm gonna let better. And it was granted. So here you go with that. So, and if you want to see
public information.
Yeah. I'm trying to find where the order. I think I might have filed a writ of prohibition too. Letter to court order, acknowledgement, motion, minute motion continuance. He eventually disqualified himself. So motion for continuance. Let's see what that is. That was me. And I'm much better right now. So you can look at how you can watch my evolution, especially go back to my earlier filings in my child support cases. I wouldn't do none of that shit now. I mean stuff now. Let's see. Let's see this here.
Right. You gotta have a 10 terabyte computer.
So this came from the Supreme Court of Florida, where he assigned this judge out of another district to come to my district to preside over my case. Let me see what this is. That's what we just read. Here it goes. This is what was weird to me when I first saw it. So this is the chief judge. The above referenced case has been assigned to Thomas McGrady. It remains a 13th Judicial Circuit case, and Judge McGrady is appointed to act as a judge in the 13th Circuit. That's not what I wanted to see. And I'm kind of looking at some of this stuff, wondering where are all these guys? I can show you where they disqualified. Let's see. That's the same thing we just looked at. Signing here. Because my dismissal is up here somewhere. Oh, that's kind of weird. This is sanctions and to dismiss, minimum for sanctions. I was asking them to dismiss again. They didn't give me any of my damn discovery in this case, which is where the 7,000, I found out the 7,000 emails, it kind of blew my mind because they claimed that they had given me everything. Let me see what this is. Oh, this is a request for information. This came in this case after the case had been dismissed, but this is where I found out. Doing this is how I found out that they had the 7,000 emails because they never told me about them during the proceedings. Here's a dismissal, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, ordering judges court has dismissed it.
So you didn't know the 7,000 emails even existed at that time?
During the criminal proceeding, hell no. I didn't get really any discovery. I'll show you what they gave. I'll show you what they gave me. I'm looking at this because I haven't been inside this file in so long because there's no need. It was dismissed in 2018, as you can see. This is when I was because I actually had to turn myself in for a bond. I paid $2,000 to turn because I had to turn myself in because they had moved to prosecute me. Material. I wonder where all these are. It's interesting. Because I know what the courts meant. All this stuff is around. So kind of, this is the judge's findings, but there's some other documents. I want to find out. I want to show you what a disqualification by a judge looks like. You can actually go into the hearing, and I'll actually pull that up and show you. I think on the one that you have, you'll hear the Judge Wolf disqualify. That should determine the indigent. This is for me filing in the second DCA. What was I trying to file for?
Yo, your fight is crazy. Cause you would think
Fights. Yeah.
if you got past one judge, you would think the next judge will be like, and for who he is and what he do, I may not want this problem in my life. And then you get past that judge, you would think the third judge would be like, if he got past two, I don't want this in my life.
Oh, here you go. Here's what a judge. Here's what it looks like. See that? For those who don't know, this is what this is. In accordance with the Florida rules, the clerk is directed to provide a copy to the chief judge. Consideration requesting an out-of-circuit judge be appointed, and he disqualified himself. But that happened. Not only did he do it, so disqualification. So let's go this.
That's crazy. And I say that respectfully. That's crazy.
There's another judge that was disqualified. I know that's me disqualifying him. In order of motion reconsider order disqualified. Oh, I tell you what this is. When you disqualify a judge, any order that judge, or when I put it this way, when I disqualified the judge, so judge one, he didn't issue any order, but the second judge issued an order. When I went to the third judge, I said, I need you to disqualify. I need you to reconsider all the orders that the previous judge did. So this is the whole process. So like I said, I was prosecuted for over 7 months. And if you want to look at and it's right here, you see this is crazy. So as you can see, here's what the information looks like. And anybody who's ever had any criminal cases, perjury. And this is what they claimed I did. Made a false statement, which I did not believe to be true, that I was indigent, didn't own any property, never made a statement, never said that. And under oath in official proceedings. So this is what they prosecuted me for. The craziest part is, and you all can go through this, I hope everybody who wants to see this is sitting down. When I filed let me try this. Here you go. I filed a motion for a statement of particulars. And this is what these people came up and. So here we go. They filed a couple of averments as well, and the Muirs. But anyway, they said they gave discovery everything that I did. Defendant has shown up in court an unredacted criminal report affidavit showing Gregory Holder as the complaint witness. They never showed me that. The copy of the criminal report affidavit, all this stuff was there, but it was redacted. I didn't get the unredacted part until I started going through my discovery process for the civil matter.
Help me understand. Help me understand. Are you saying they saying like, yo, like it's there and we showed it, but
they never showed it.
But in actual reality, they never showed it.
No, I never.
But they showed it. Did.
They showed it, but it was redacted. Meaning a lot of stuff was blacked out on.
Oh, if it's redacted, then yeah.
Okay. They said it unredacted. So, and what they didn't have in here, they said he was a witness, a complainant witness, but there's no statement from him saying exactly what he said I did. It became convoluted. So all this stuff, information did not. I'm trying to find where it says. In response, the state cannot adequately respond regarding his phrase, I'm an Indian, did not own any real property, as that specific wording is not included in information or any of the discovery previously provided. MFs, you've been prosecuting me claiming I made the statement. And look at what the date of this was. I'm going to tell you what's interesting about this date. This is right before we get to the point where they appoint a brand new judge. So when all the judges were in the 13th, what's up, Ant? Yeah, it is. I didn't even know you was even up. I forgot, Ant. You were West Coast. I'll send you a link.
Time
Ant.
difference.
Yeah, I'll send you a link, Ant, so you can see it. What we got going on, but yeah, it's a beefy document. Yeah, bro, this is just one of them, man. Like I said, I don't wish this on anybody, man. But I've been through it. I've been through it all kinds of stuff with these people, man. You see.
That's great.
Check your email, Ant. Because I was gonna do this for members only, but yeah, just something me and my DJ were hollering. So we just said he was asking me questions. I said, let me just go ahead and put this thing together, and go with it from there.
That's crazy.
So they said, and this is when they're prosecuting me, trying to get me to take these 5 years. they never came. They did not come off the 5 years until, and I would show you all some of the emails, but I just don't want to do that for right now. I don't think that would be proper. Just like there's an email involving myself in the Smallwood case where the state attorney made a statement. I told the judge, well, I'm entitled to the evidentiary hearing. If the state attorney doesn't think that this stuff, that they have a case, have them prove that there's a complaint and a summons. So whenever Ant, if you see that Ant, come on in and you can I'll let you into the room. But that's crazy, isn't it? They said they don't actually have what they claim.
You're supposed to get
And
full discovery though, right?
yes, that's called, you're talking about like they were responsible for adhering to Brady. Yes.
Right.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I
Right.
didn't get it. I didn't get it.
That's crazy.
Macadamia, go ahead and hit your email. And so hopefully with this, even though it will probably be longer and convoluted than I want it to be, it'll be out there for anybody to go through. Ant-Man's in there. What's up, Ant? You got there on the West Coast. So, Anthony, were you familiar? Hey, Ant, were you familiar with me having gone through the perjury case? You knew about that. You didn't know about that at
Well,
all?
I knew about the perjury case, but you have multiple cases. I didn't know you had that many cases and your dockets were that fat. That's crazy. I thought my docket for my parentage case was huge.
No,
Oh man.
I've had all kinds of. I have a resume, so that's
I
why
was
we're
not
doing it
aware.
under the 1 in 10,000 background versus the GD. Although GD is in the middle of the glasses. Uh, the so you were familiar with the perjury? Have you listened to the perjury case?
No, I didn't listen to all of it. Or I mean, I've listened to some of it, but yeah, I didn't know how deep your litigation experience actually is. I know
Huh?
I mean, you've mentioned that you were a paralegal and you worked in some law offices, but I didn't know you were filing stuff like you just showed us in your dockets.
It was all public record.
Yeah, yeah. I have a Pacer case too, but I don't I don't enjoy the law. I don't enjoy doing any of this
I
stuff.
won't say that I enjoy it or don't enjoy it, but it was it's the consequence of necessity for me. Invention is mother's what is it? The necessity of invention. Mother's the necessity of invention, whatever it is. So necessity is the mother of invention, I should say. So that's kind
Mm,
of like, and I couldn't afford an attorney to do all this for me.
yeah. No,
And
I
I,
hear you.
I don't even know what the number would be. Mac, you have any idea what the number would be for me to paid an attorney to do all the stuff that I've had to do in these cases? I don't know. I know I couldn't afford the attorneys that I spoke to, just in general. So anyway, here's what that is. So hopefully this is clearing up some stuff about that I've never done anything. I'm not saying anybody's name, but that I've never won or done anything in the courtroom. So you didn't know about all this stuff, Macadamia?
I didn't know about that, and I didn't know, I was ready to argue with you about child support being well, somewhat argue with you about being able to
Federal?
bring a case in the federal courts. But I saw, you brought up the how
The, the remand
you change
order?
yeah, you change venues and then they sent it right back to state court.
And they explain why.
Yeah, but I kind
You
of
weren't, you've
I
never
want to
been a
read
part
that.
of, but you were never a part of our child support basics groups?
No, I didn't. I just jumped in with you personally, and then
Okay.
I kind of
I actually
disappeared.
went over the entire order, and I've been shredded and lost a lot more than I ever won. But it was the defeats that helped me. I look at each opportunity in courts like a round or like a play in football. You may guard me one play, but it doesn't mean I don't come back the next play. I just kept on coming back and coming back and coming back, and there's been evolution. I'm much
Mhm.
better now than I was, in 2010 or 11 when I started this stuff. And if you look at the docket dates, you'll see that.
That's what shocked me too. 2017, and I'm like, dang, this guy's been at it, and he's still getting up, still doing this stuff because they're still pulling, shady stuff on you, even in your Court of Appeals case. So
Case
I don't know.
is, case is. I'm glad
Oh
you brought
man,
that up. You brought that up. So let's go ahead and do this for people who don't know. Um,
I don't know how you deal with it because I know you got your disclaimer about lawyers, but it they keep on hitting you with the wildest things, and they're supposed to be highly ethical individuals.
I'm not going to speak to that. I say nothing disparaging about attorneys. I don't know. For those who don't know, I filed many
Mm.
cases.
Oh man.
This is a courts of appeals. And I've had some, as you know, and by the way, for people who don't know, you can go on my YouTube page and see me inside the Court of Appeals. You'll actually see a State Farm lawyer, as you know, Macadamia, lie to the court about me voluntarily dismissing the case. And there's an actual order where I was told to go sign this release. But you can see all this stuff. And actually, some of these are published. And if you go in the crazier part, there's one in here with the Bank of New York Mellon. And it was I'm not Richard Dawes, by the way, where the here it is. This case is published. In fact, I'll do this. I'll do you one better. This is not our stuff, is it? No, this is not us. I didn't know. Until I was looking for addressing the order to show cause and all some of the other stuff, that the the case with Bank of New York Mellon, they're saying, well, I shouldn't be allowed to intervene. I'll get into some background on that. They were saying, well, I shouldn't be allowed to intervene because I'm a stranger to the case. Wait a minute, people. You just made me made me resolve matters involving parties who were a stranger to the Chandra Tucker and Linda Tucker case. It's strange, came out the same court, the same appeals court. I can't even get the appellate court to do the right thing. But I'll say this, and I'm making a little light of it, but I get frustrated thinking about it. It's going to take a little time for it to find it, but you can go in the website, you're going to find it. But one of the filings, like you can see all the stuff that I filed, and that's just 1 of 20. It's order, insolvency, notice of appearance, miscellaneous order, sends you the time to file an initial brief on the merits if it comes up. See, I don't like the fact that some of this stuff is not popping up, because when I do this, it should pop up.
Should.
Yeah. I bet you this damn mandate pops up. Oh no, it doesn't. It's wild. But you can see everything I've filed. It's actually here. So I got to figure out why I can't see it. See this printed up. Still not showing it on these. It might be because they're so old. So let's go back. But you can see all the cases I filed.
It's closed, yeah.
I had the interesting thing about my properties. This is kind of bugging me, really. Because I should be able to hit the these because you can see it's viewable. I wonder why I can't view it. I didn't do oral arguments back then. I didn't know about that. But when it came to the newer stuff, I've done at least 3 oral arguments.
So these cases are all by affidavit or by paperwork. Haven't really had to go to a trial, show cause.
Everything is through not everything. All of them are through appeals. Some of them I didn't request oral arguments. The one now, crazy enough, they canceled my last few oral arguments. Yeah, which we all know is kind of wild. Yeah. And
They're scared. They're
well,
scared.
I think they're over their skis. And if anybody out there listening wants to do anything, contact a congressperson, contact a bar association, and say, why is this going on? when the law is clear, the facts are clear. I don't think any of this is questionable. But if your question is about me litigating, yeah, I've actually had to litigate quite a few times. Hell, I had to litigate in my defense for the criminal cases. Remember, for all the driving out license cases, and this is why. Until you said something, Mac, and I told you I thought it would be this. It's as a person who's trying to show people my story, I think it would be irresponsible for me to tell people to go out there and try to do the things that I've done, because I don't think, in retrospect, I probably approached it the best way. It's how I did the best that I could with what I know. But I would not suggest that people get themselves into situations that you may not be able to argue yourself out of, because I can't transfer X number of times being inside of a courtroom. In every one of those driving out license cases, I was facing jail time. So had I had an unsuccessful result, I would have gone to jail. So I don't suggest anybody put themselves in that kind of jeopardy. But evidently there was some merit to my discussions. But so you knew about all this then, right, Macadamia?
Not all of it. I have a Pacers account, but I haven't really explored it too much. I was kind of preparing for my venue change.
Seeing all these writs at denial of writs of prohibition when I was trying to get the judge disqualified or she refused to disqualify herself when they knew they obviously know they're biased, because it's pretty evident every judge knows who Greg Holder is.
Mm-hmm.
They all serve together, right?
Yeah,
It's out of the same circuit. It's out of the same circuit.
yeah. How do you get them to? So you had to actually, did you reach out to the Supreme Court of Florida, or did they intervene without being
For
requested
the
to?
for the Holder case, because I kept disqualifying the judges, and I'll show you. See, this stuff should be popping up, bro. I don't like that at all.
Should be public record.
Yeah, it should be popping up. So let me do this right here. That's not cool. I might do that. Okay. So let's see what I got going on some of these right here. Writ of prohibition, appendix. Here's some orders, amended appellate appendix.
So is a writ of prohibition just what you guys call an injunctive relief?
Prohibition is prohibit a court from doing something.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And by the way, I tell y'all to do this also. Always. I'm trying to find a writ of prohibition. Now here's crazy. Judge Peacock actually disqualified herself from the further proceedings on her own initiative. That's what an order of disqualification from a judge looks like. New case.
Which judges should do that anyways if they think that they can't give you an impartial,
Exactly, and it make pretty much sense that a guy who's been in front of a whole bunch of judges and done a whole lot of things, which is not. I don't care that they don't like me, because it's pretty mutual. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I care about you doing the right thing by me. And as you said, this is my lawsuit that Judge Huey disqualified, and they're claiming that I voluntarily dismissed it against the other parties. I didn't sue these people in the other case, so how would I? Bruh? Some of the things that this is my lawsuit. And by the way, you can see all that if y'all look it up. See, it's been filed electronically, complaint for damages, and declared. If the facts of the case didn't show that I was entitled to relief, I wouldn't even be bothering with this stuff. It's pretty evident that the allegations that she hit me, she said she hit me. You can actually even go into the Dropbox and see the deposition. I do video deposition. So you can see me depose somebody. It's inside the Dropbox. And but again, I would always suggest that people get an attorney. I don't want to know where this is the appendix for the writ of prohibition. Where is the writ of prohibition? Oh, it's the appendix itself. Where my writ is. It's definitely plenty filed. Let's do this. I definitely did it because it's oh, here it is.
And this is the one that they canceled
This
your
is
oral argument, right?
this is a writ of prohibition, and then they canceled oral argument on my motion to appeal. So here you go, appendices, and then the case sightings. But Macadamia, you have some of this stuff, right?
Yeah, you emailed. I read it. Yeah, you blew my mind when you sent me some of this stuff.
So if you want some, Mac, you can get. Mac, you never seen this? All the documents are you can get them. So I tell you this, I definitely write better than I did in 2013 and 14. And I've learned a lot from getting chastised by attorneys too. So
Was it you that said that, you actually got some, not advice, but, a judge earlier on, kind of gave you props for changing up the way you were writing?
yeah, well, and also my presentation. I won't say that judge's names. I don't want to have any scrutiny, but yeah.
Mm.
And here's something that I think people would find pretty interesting. So let's do this. Since I happen to look over here and see this. This is the guy. So this came up, but for those who don't know, I think you already know, man, because we went over this. You look at can you see the appearances, Macadamia?
Yeah, the following persons and counsels were present: the State of Florida Department of Revenue and Assistant Attorney General Wendy R. Doyle, and then counsel for DOR.
Who's missing?
Who were you supposed to be there?
And
Who's the who's the Oh yeah, and then Clee.
mother.
Yeah.
So where would admissible evidence come from if there's no witness?
Yeah. Hey, I know that these lawyers be doing some really shady
Hey,
stuff.
hey, 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 hey.
The
All
the
I'm
state,
saying
the
is,
state.
all I was saying is, so once the case was terminated, the rest of it just goes away. This case is dead once it's terminated.
But
Then
how long ago what's the date on this one? 2004. So did you run into issues of res judicata and how they're saying like you ran out of time to void it out?
then she said she didn't want anything. But because my cases are all what? They're not administrative, they're what?
Judicial. Yeah.
That makes it an error in a judicial proceeding can require reversal. Administrative cases aren't held to the same strictures as a judicial proceeding. But she got rid of it. But the reality is once it's terminated means it's done. We ain't got to go through pulling up stuff. I don't want to give a narrative. Go look up yourself. Get it?
I mean, I get it, but a lot of people aren't going to do that. They're just gonna pay or
Well,
just sit
that's
there.
why they're not very good.
Yeah. Let's see, process, establish. So what is this question?
I
So
should have
Dallas
been
was,
allowed to intervene in the case where they took my properties, but the other people had no rights to intervene in a auto negligence case that only involved the lady who hit me and her mother, because her mother owned the property, owned the car. The daughter was a permissible driver. I sued the daughter for hitting me, the mother for giving her permission to drive the vehicle. That's called vicarious liability. Not giving you legal advice or whatever, but this is a fact. If your son hits me in your car, both of you are liable. Ultimately, you're more liable because it's your vehicle. That's it. That has nothing to do with State Farm as an independent tortfeasor, Dr. John Shim as an independent tortfeasor, Austro Basketball, professional associations. I didn't sue them in the original proceeding. I sued them in a subsequent proceeding, but the case was dismissed because the judge improperly implied that I released everybody. No, I didn't. I have no authority to release them because the court had no jurisdiction over parties that were not properly in front of the court.
Mm.
None of them made an appearance in the underlying case, the other case. So you have no authority over them.
Well, were they served?
No, why would I serve them? I didn't sue them.
Okay, tracking.
I sued Shonda, this cat here. So anyway, where's this DOS at? I'm trying to figure out how I end up finding it with the DOS versus what have you. Which you actually saw it in there, but I saw the DOS name. I said, well, damn, that me? I said, shit, it was me. And that was one of the filings that was filed by one of the attorneys. But look it up. You'll find it yourself. But let's go back to where we were talking about with let's see. And I know that Mac, you saying we should put links to each one of these cases. I gotta have somebody figure out how to do that shit for me. I mean, do that thing for me. To show all the litigation. You're talking about 25 or 30 cases for that. Well, maybe not that many. You see, child support cases, that would be 5. Each one of the driving out license, a perjury, complaint. I don't know. You're probably up in a number of cases. So let's do this. And anybody can go pull this information.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's see what we got here.
Talking about the number of filings in the case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's called litigation.
Ah,
You okay over there, Mac, or you blow too?
my goodness. Okay, complaint.
Mac, you there? Oh, 1 second. You gotta unmute. You gotta unmute, Mac. I don't know how you do that, but this is what a summons looks like. There's the complaint. Now, to you, who did I sue? Pretty clear. Who did I sue?
Let's see. Yeah, Chandra and Linda.
You see State Farm?
No.
Even though State Farm is their insurance company, do you see Austin Road Basketball?
I do not.
You see Dr. John Shim?
I do not.
So even though they may have done some things as in the course of me in the litigation, they have nothing to do with what happened on everything. That this complaint is about the events that took place when
On the 16th of January 16th of 2017. Yeah. So did they file an adjoinder or something into
no,
this case?
no.
Mm. Or a motion for intervention or something? They
What
didn't.
would have to intervene? State Farm is the insurance company. Chandra, Linda Tucker paid her premium for State Farm to insure her interest up to the limits of her liability coverage. State Farm, in accepting the premiums, accepted the liability. Accepted any liability she would have up to the limits of her liability coverage. State Farm subsequently hired Austro Basketball for representation of the Tuckers. Nothing that they did after that date, January 16, 2017, has anything to do with January 16, 2017.
Well, didn't she shift the liability? Isn't the insurance company the one who's going to be taking care of the liability?
But they're not being sued. They're taking her liability, not their own. Now, if they do something improper, you're talking like maybe bad faith or whatever, maybe some lawyer looking on can say, hey, why would this go on? Hey, that's what happens when you deal with a jurisdiction in question. So let me see what this is right here. There's only one of these.
Notice of appearance. And who is he representing? Okay. That's for both of them.
You see, does he represent State Farm? I mean, State Farm Hired, but does he represent State Farm?
No, yeah. That's interesting. Is this just this just doesn't seem like how it should happen.
It's not how it should happen.
Mm.
And then you do the request for informations. I do amend the complaint. And then right here,
Amended it.
remember me bringing this up in one of the other court cases?
Let's see. Amended certificate of attendance and authority.
Under rule, you have to do this 10 days before any mediation, anybody who has an interest in the action. So if this wasn't done for the last mediation and you didn't put this in, do you have any interest that you could bring up that could be resolved?
Undersigned counsel filed notice of state.
Does he say he represents State Farm as an independent tortfeasor?
Nope.
Does he represent Dr. John Shim?
Nope.
Here's the problem. So I think, Mac, you were saying, why didn't they just fix it the first time and be done with it? Is that what you were saying one time, Mac? You gotta you gotta unmute your phone, Mac. Because it won't let me unmute you.
You
They
can
should have
hear
just
me?
they could have just fixed the problem.
Okay.
So there you go. So there's a whole lot that's gone on for a whole lot of my cases, which is wild as hell. Even when you see them like these motions for sanctions, I'm interested to see how this is going to work, because you owe me an evidentiary hearing, and in order for that to be proper, I had to have no basis in fact or law. That ain't the case.
They try to sanction you?
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, ain't it? Because they ain't gonna get it damn thing.
On what basis? Whoa.
They're saying that that my subsequent lawsuits were frivolous. How? They're based in fact and in law. But this is what happens when
What are
a lot of
lawyers?
people talk a lot, but when you really go in and fight, what happens is they're not used to somebody who fights back.
Exactly.
And fights back, not just fiercely, but properly. So let me see something. I wanted to show you all.
Greg, can you hear me?
Yeah, barely.
All
Can you
right.
hear Macadamia?
Yeah, I can hear. He's pretty light though.
Can I ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I know the fight that you've been fighting, the struggle you've been struggling with. As far as, because I know you got grandkids, I know you got kids. This is a question I want to ask you. Like, what do you think we can do to prepare our younger generation for actually what you've done right now and what you're doing? Like how do we do that though? Because they may not be interested in it. They may be like, I'm not trying to do that, or I'm good, or like, but what would be your advice to be like to help me being an older person, like me and you around the same age or whatever, like how do we prepare our younger generation to be like,
Well, you live in an era of anti-intellectualism, and people are downing the benefits of an adequate education. And we're the only so-called developed country who doesn't put an emphasis on education or on academics.
that's a fact.
You can't. It's not sustainable. They have to want to be knowledgeable. We social media in this country, which is why other countries probably have a big lid on their social media, allows the loudest voice to seem like it's the most popular, or I mean maybe the most popular voice to sound like it's the most informed voice, when many times it's not.
That's a fact.
In a exchange of ideas, I want to call it debate, and you put out the facts, facts can sometimes be drowned out by drama or emotion. And when it comes to doing this, I believe because I'm a product of the civil rights movement, I'm a product of that generation. I do things almost like you say from the mud. All I did is I constructed something. I have an idea. I know how to read. And if you can't comprehend, you can't read. I know how to write. And I was also always willing to admit what I didn't know. So that allowed me to grow. Even now, when people show me things that I don't understand and I can process and I take the time to process it and realize, hey, this is how this works. I'm willing to learn it. A lot of people want to say, I don't want to learn something else. I want something else to fit where my mind is. And life doesn't work that way. As it relates to what you're looking at on the screen, they try to claim that this is the same thing as a mediation settlement agreement. And it just isn't. Florida law doesn't call a stipulation of the parties in a mediation settlement agreement the same thing. Simple.
Like where you took that to.
Well, that's one of the biggest things that I don't like about this whole litigation process is seems to me that they play so many word games when things are well defined in law.
They're not. They're different. And under I like hate to do that. I really use Westlaw. They pull inside information, but it's well established that it's not. So the bigger question is why isn't the court doing what the court should be doing? That's the bigger question.
No accountability.
But that's on the people. I place that squarely on the shoulders of the people. Even my motion to vacate the final judgment she did. This is what my motion was. She wanted to deny it, but it is fraud in the court, and fraud has to be done by an officer of the court, which would be the attorney.
Is that true? Is that true? Or is it so perjury is for private citizens and fraud on the courts for an attorney?
Perjury is a criminal charge. Fraud has to be played with specificity.
What does need to fraud on the court to prove? Per se.
So when I filed this motion for fraud, I just said, this is my preliminary statement. That doesn't mean anything. So introduction,
I don't know
background,
how you condense everything into these small little sentences. That'd be going on and on
plain
and
simple
on.
statements of fact that would lead to trial effectively to conclude you're entitled to relief. You don't want to use conclusory statements.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what I forgot to put in this at the time, or I was, because I'm not just a honorable discharge veteran, which would I didn't even file an action under the ADA, American with Disabilities Act, because I'm a disabled American veteran. ADA would apply. Actually, ADA may apply just being a veteran. So what I did, and I go to the facts. See here? Now, should an attorney file an action on behalf? One question would be, is it permissible for an attorney to file a pleading on behalf of a client that they do not represent, particularly if the client they don't represent or have not filed a notice of appearance for is a business? Because under Florida law, all businesses have to be represented by an attorney. So filing for Shim may be one thing, but if you file for Shim as Shim MD LLC, you had to file. There's no notice of appearance. See it?
Yeah.
And I've been taught attorney cannot be a witness.
I can't hear you.
I said I've been taught attorney cannot be a witness.
What do you say?
Attorneys can't be a witness, is what he's been taught.
Oh yeah. Unless if they become a witness, and they can be cross-examined, right?
Hmm. Attorney has no power. Counsel by virtue. An attorney has no power to act for another as a legal representative or counsel by virtue of his license alone. He must have a contract of employment, express or implied, with the party for whom he purports to act or someone authorized to represent that party.
Now, keep in mind that there's no notice of appearance, no LOR, letter of representation, saying he's done this. And yeah, he filed, and there's a whole lot there. I don't want to get into this other stuff, when it comes to rule of evidence, what have you. But anybody who wants it, to your original question, Mac, they can go find it.
Public record.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah.
Prove fraud on the court, extrinsic fraud.
So as far as court go and court proceedings, anything that you did, you can look it up.
Yeah.
Hampering the post-party claim defense.
And see.
Yep. Yeah, it's improper influence when you commit fraud.
Yeah, but who would be able to do that?
Well, a pro se litigant. That's what I was trying to clarify and understand. So, are
Could a
you saying
pro se litigant commit fraud on the court? You could probably lie, and that would be something else that would probably cause somebody else to like the judge may find that you perjured yourself, or that could possibly come up. But typically, fraud on the court has to come from an officer of the court. They have to do something that said they have to be able to get the action started. So you could I see what you're saying. Could you potentially file a pleading that so drastically mischaracterizes what goes on that the court begins to move in a certain way? Now, if you lie during the process, I don't know what that would be, but if an attorney does it and it does these things, that immediately would constitute fraud. Like essentially, attorneys also, if you read the rules of professional conduct, I'm not giving legal advice, shouldn't do anything unethical, right?
I've been trying to make sense of that for a while now. Judges
So,
too. I know that judges aren't, acting as attorneys while they're judges, but they've got they've got the judicial canons, to manage and make sure they're in compliance with. Must
fraud is a
establish.
question of fact revolving around intent and credibility, typically resolved by the trier of fact, often the jury. There you go.
So what level clear and convincing, is that the lowest bar?
Yeah, seems to be.
Okay.
Then you might want to say, what is the standard of review for determining what's clear and convincing?
Greg, maybe you can help people understand. I just want to say something that maybe people may not understand, though.
I can't hear him.
He wants to ask a question, and help people
You still
understand.
can't hear me?
When you get closer, I can.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I want to ask a question, right? Like, how can, like, okay, perjury, right? Perjury being perjury. Like, if you haven't actually done nothing wrong, like, how can you, just for people that don't understand, how can you actually, like, okay, perjury is perjury. Like, you being in position to where it's to the point to where they saying, I don't know how can I say it. I'm saying it for people that don't
This is what you
understand.
want to ask.
Like
What
like you
are
purchased yourself
no? Here you go. What are the elements
with
for?
perjury.
That's you ask yourself. Under what state?
I'll go Florida. Just do Florida. Let's see what we got here. Core elements of perjury.
Now that's one place to go, but you know what I would do?
Mm, The statutes at large.
No, Florida statutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's. This is the one they charge me with.
Deceptive writing, false statement. Knowledge of the materiality of the statement is not an element of the crime of perjury under subsection 1.
Whoever makes a false statement which he or she does not believe to be true under oath in an official proceeding in regard to any material matter commits a felony of third degree, punishable by here. But whoever makes a false statement which he or she does not believe to be true under oath in an official proceeding that relates to the prosecution, that is in a capital, that wouldn't matter. Knowledge of the materiality of the statement is not an element of the crime of perjury under subsection 1 or 2, and the defendant's mistaken belief that the statement was not material is not a defense. You'd have thought that if they had me on anything, that would have been pretty easy to prove. It doesn't matter if you make the statement not knowing it. But in my case, I never said and did anything. The judge and the cop lied. They just didn't expect me to fight back.
And then the prosecuting attorney have to take up the case too?
You have a duty to, you say, if your question is, should the state attorney have just dismissed the case on this? The state attorney and every judge before Judge McGrady should have asked the same question: what's the official proceeding? But then we already have seen that they said, well, there really was, we don't actually have them saying that. MF, you prosecuted me for 7 months. So
did you win your malicious prosecution? Did you go after them?
that's the one that's in the 11th Circuit. They're trying to claim that one of the things is that the cops operated on, they get, by virtue of Holder making the statement, they get immunity. No, you still have to do an investigation. And my argument is Greg Holder doesn't get immunity because at the time that he made the call to the police officer, the second DCA had the case. Let me see something quick.
Yeah, I hate
let's do this right
doctrines. The immunity doctrines are so terrible.
Well, you can pierce it in Florida. They violate a well-established right. So let's do this right here. Here's interesting about me. Let's see. For everybody doesn't know, here's Dave buying the property, certificate of sales and titles all the way down through. Clerk sale to him. Quit claim deeds that brought them from him to me. And all this you can get if you just ask for them. Here you go. Here's the case management conference that while we were under stay, Holder called this, right? But here's the interesting thing about this. We'll go ahead and announce your names for the record and we'll proceed with the case management because I was late this day. Amazing how the universe works. And here's the court. This is Holder, by the way. Good, thank you. I went ahead and even though I checked the Second District Court of Appeal website this morning and again this afternoon and repeatedly through the day to see what, if anything, had been done by our appellate court as it relates to what they have been treating as a motion to review, whatever that is. And in any event, there's no definitive action, and as such, we're pretty much stayed. So I don't know, but if any attorneys out there looking, any judges looking, if you're stayed, then why did the rest of this shit go on? And in this, he questioned me about some things specifically, he's saying that I said I don't own any property here or anywhere in the world, which I never said. He said it. And that only becomes interesting. Why is Will not here? Okay, you're kidding me. And if anybody wants to, you can get this out of the court records too. Because and the crazy part is I had brought my own court report. I guess he sent them home that day. And he's the one that really made me lock into needing court reporters. He told the court reporter to put this in the record. Now, this might be a little bit funny. Come on, man. See, he ain't been granted intervener status by this court. We're still waiting a ruling from the Second District Court of Appeals. I felt it might be productive to have a case management conference given the status of this case, as well as other cases you attempted intervener. I know your filings in this case, you've indicated you are indigent on the property. Never said that. And yet in your own affidavit, you swear you was the owner of the property. The question on the application for indigency is not do you own any property. The question was, do you have any assets? And we all know that a property encumbered by a lien is not an asset.
Oh, I did not know that. So it's when somebody,
Well, if it wasn't encumbered by a lien, could it have been foreclosed on?
oh,
It's crazy. He claims I own the property to prosecute me, but I didn't own the property to defend it. At least I don't make it up. I mean, obviously, he said you, although you have not been. He said I don't own any property here anywhere in the world. I'll probably get the original because maybe something I've done to this may have screwed it up.
that is the case that judges, at least here in Washington, they can review the transcript and ask the stenographer to change stuff.
No, that didn't happen in this right here.
Okay.
And this is going to be interesting because, and he's talking about these other cases that I filed for determination of indigent status just to waive the fees. But and he's going to say that here you go. He was actually in the courtroom for one of my other cases. He's inside the judge's chambers, in fact, which is interesting. When he's inside the judge's chambers, Judge Barber's chambers, it was after I filed the application for determination of indigency status, and it was after he made the phone call to Mike Victor. And I'm going to show you that because Mike Victor's police report says the date that the judge called him.
Oh, man.
So, okay, so then he owners of the properties, and what's also interesting, they took my name off the property. Well, after that, you filed your motion to intervene, claim you own the property. I do. I said, okay, I don't care about all that shit. So anyway, arguably you committed perjury. And I've referred the matter to the Tampa Police Department. When did judges start doing that?
Well, judges can do that, can't they? Like if they can.
Okay,
Well, they
then what's the perjury statement?
Committed. Well, if he's just saying that you did something, but you didn't actually say it, that's not perjury. That's I don't know what you call that when someone
A
puts words
lie.
in your
We
mouth.
call it a lie where I'm from. What do you call it, Matt?
I meant in legal terms, but yeah.
Yeah, we call it a lie. And here he says again, I can tell you Michael Victor's investigating case. Now here's crazy. I went looking for Michael Victor and he avoided me. And by the way, Michael Victor at the time is the mayor's bodyguard. He's the mayor's head of security. Why don't you just tell the sheriff? The sheriff's over the courthouse.
Well, it's not even the sheriff or the police. It should just be referred to the prosecuting attorney, right? If they wanted to press charges,
Okay, what's he gonna press charges on?
well, on the alleged perjury.
Okay, what's the false statement under oath? What's the makes a statement that I did not believe to be true under oath in an official proceeding? Because this is not
Well,
official because we're stayed, right? And
yeah,
he
but
didn't swear
what
and he didn't swear me in either. And I
what I'm
have
saying
not
is
said what
that
he said I said.
he, as an attorney, should know he should go to another attorney, and an attorney right away would have been like, "Well, do you have a sworn statement?" And then that would have
You're
closed it
getting
down.
ahead of
But
yourself. You're getting ahead of yourself. Here you go. On in two separate cases, I like to know who he is. So he's asking me who's the guy I got the properties from. Why you
Oh,
when did that become important to you, Muff? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're not arguing that I'm the owner of record. He's not even arguing that. I'm not arguing that I don't own the property. I never said I didn't own the property. Nobody even asked me did I own any property. They asked me to have assets, and I'm going to show you in the document. He bought 4 properties, and where do you live? I say live, reside. Okay. You lease it out, was you were. I tell them to look the lease out. Anything you say, ma'am, I don't know. I monopolize. So the judge took over all the questions, and they were only directed at me from the judge, who obviously at the time wouldn't have been a judge because the second DCA had stayed the process. I want to say, well, you say you don't own anything here, there, anywhere else in the world. So I'm saying, is that it? So can I have their names as well as the documentation that would show? No, there's no documentation that's been provided today. I want to say where he says you never said you own any property here, anywhere in the world, or some crap he said. Um, it's like it's doing it by one page at a time. Yeah, that's what the problem is. Um, but he arguably committed perjury, and that's going to be important. Now, don't forget this is on the 27th. Mm, I'll go through it some other time and show you, but the bigger part is because I don't want to eat up too much time going through, but you can find it. I gotta get the original transcript. This date is February 27th. I'll show you why that's important.
Greg, can you hear me?
Gotta be a little bit louder. I can't hear. I can barely hear you at all.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
When you say perjury, right? Like, can you explain to the people that, like, okay, what they're saying as far as saying perjury with you, can you explain it a little bit more in detail to where their thought process is their thought process,
Oh,
and where they're
I
wrong at
couldn't.
is where they're wrong at?
Well, I don't know what their thought process was. I just know that the elements of perjury were not met. That's why the case was dismissed.
Well, that's
They
my
bring.
point. That's what I'm trying to say. Can you explain that so people can understand? People can be like, oh, he was considered it was considered perjury, but at the same time, can you explain more in detail to help them understand of why it's not perjury?
Because I didn't make a false statement, or I didn't make a statement that I not to be believed to be true under oath in an official proceeding in regards to material matter. I would have had to do all of those things to have had to been convicted of perjury. But if you
You
look at
didn't
this,
do that.
not at all. Um, because I had never been in an official proceeding. Remember, they didn't grant me intervener status.
Right.
But here you go. For those who can't see, during the month of February 2017 in Michael Victor, I was contacted by the Honorable Judge Greg Holder, who has a civil case in his courtroom regarding a pending bankruptcy hearing involving the suspect Dawes. I didn't know I was a suspect, but this is February 9th. What's interesting is bankruptcy proceedings don't take place in civil in circuit court; they take place in federal court. So Judge Holder related that the suspect Dawes filed sworn document filing with the clerk of courts advising that he was indigent, did not own real property, and had no source of income. That was never the case. Judge Holder, believing that a fraud was being committed, the judge researched the Hillsborough County property appraiser's website and located real property owned by Dawes. So if I owned it, how did you take it from me without giving me a day in court?
Well, isn't that against the judicial canons for a judge to do?
I don't want to get into all that right now.
Okay.
That's crazy.
I'm just trying to provide some clarity for what we all know. I'm not going to mention a name for, just to show you that when people are intelligent, they know when they're misleading other people. I'll just let you look at the facts for yourself and make a determination. My issues have nothing to do with child support. They're just grabbing anything they can do to throw at because they want to distract. Because if we lived in a otherwise continued sane society, this is a problem. Just what you read here is a problem, correct? And here's what gets to be: the investigation revealed Dawes does own real property, is currently deriving profit by renting it out. No investigation showed that. I was renting out the property, but didn't know if I have any profit because it would take what? A P&L statement, tax returns. The property could have been a loss. Didn't do any of this. And this is one of the four, and here you go. Based on the offense occurring at the courthouse, I contacted Detective Darby. Bruh. That means you had no business investigating anyway. Why would the judge call a cop, a city cop, to investigate something that was going on in a property in the county? He ain't got no jurisdiction in the county. It's just, there's a whole lot that goes on here, and he subpoenaed these people's utility records. They did all kinds of. It should be known that Judge Holder referenced me by name in court hearing as conducting a perjury investigation of Dawes, and that's where he obtained my name in an attempt to contact me on LinkedIn. Yeah, I went looking for you, dude. The judge said you're looking for me. I'll make it easy. Come holler at me, bro. I didn't know that cops run away from their key suspects, but that's what happened in my case. So, Dawes explained he thought his name was taken off in August. It was. Time frame was signed by Dawes, still listed as the owner. Here's what's interesting. I never went to a court proceeding, yet the 4 properties were taken out of my name. So I don't know what happened to the 5th, 9th, and 14th Amendment of the Constitution, but this didn't apply to my black ass. You know what I'm saying? You can't lose life, liberty, or property without due process. They just wiped me off the record.
What about the takings clause too? Are you going to get compensated? Are you trying to get compensated too? Because the takings clause, they took it, and they have to justly compensate you.
Look, bro. All I have to, but if one to take it, you'd have to give me some sort of proceeding by law. None of this happened. So for those who don't know, who get captivated by other goofiness, this is why they have a problem with Shabrat. Because this can have people go to prison, correct? A lot of people go to prison. Because if you did it to me, the question would be, how many other properties did you people steal and are taken properly? And then you got all this other stuff, responded to attempting to make a complaint on this writer for contacting his tenant. Yeah, why are you talking to my damn tenant? You got an issue, talk to me. If you know I own the property. So they did all this other stuff, and I had several. And then after this, then he sets the case management, and Victor that on the 9th. But when did he set the case management? On the 14th. So he called Victor first, and then he set a case management conference. So some would say it looks like he might have been trying to entrap me, but I don't know about all that. Here's the crazy part. When you look at the Wires who filed bankruptcy, who owned the property before it was purchased from the court, from the clerk during a foreclosure auction, the listed creditor was Bank of America. The bank that foreclosed was Bank of New York Mellon. The bank that loaned the money was Rotland Home Mortgage Company. When did Bank of New York Mellon ever gain standing to bring a foreclosure action? They're not even listed on it. And by the way, don't take my word for it. See the chain of custody for Spinnaker, how you do this stuff. There's a way that you can.
You should be able to just right click on the actual document.
Yeah.
Rotated.
There you go.
There we go.
So this is Spinnaker. This house is today worth, I believe, like $600,000. So here you go. This is the chain of custody for the property. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
And the first one was Spinnaker Home. In other words, HOAs work almost like a trailer park. The HOA owns the property. You buy the house and the property. You're obligated to pay HOA or assessment fees or impact fees monthly. Okay, so you can buy the house in the HOA, so you'd have a mortgage on the property, and you would owe for monthly maintenance. So that could be two different mortgages, like a superior mortgage and an inferior mortgage. I don't question that. The bank's mortgage is superior to the HOA's mortgage, but they can both foreclose on you. If the homeowners association, like say the trailer park, because you didn't pay your lot rent, forecloses on you for not paying your lot rent, they can take your trailer. Okay, so now here we go. Here you go, Spinnaker Home, Bay Point Investment. You see what they paid for the Spinnaker Cove. Now you see who loaned the money to the Rotlands? To the Wires. Rotland Home Mortgage Company. They loaned the money. That's clear, because that's who owned the property. And then Bay Point, Spinnaker sold it to Bay Point. Bay Point gave it to Rotland. Rotland gave it to who? Michael Wire. That's where that mortgage came from. It went from Michael Wire to who? David, who bought the property at a foreclosure, a clerk's foreclosure sale. We saw the certificate of sale and title earlier, remember? That's one of the properties. Then it went from David to who?
To you.
And it went from me to them, but how did I give it to them if I never signed off on anything? When did they have standing based on the documents? They're nowhere in the chain of title. I'm not arguing that they couldn't possibly have a superior lien. They never proved it.
Is that their argument, that they have some sort of relationship with Spin?
They're the one. Bank of New York Mellon is the one who foreclosed on the Wires.
Oh.
But where did you get your standing? So it gets a little bit more intricate, and I had to end up breaking this up. But here you go. See the Bank of New York Mellon lawsuit, verified complaint to foreclose. They're saying that Bank of New York Mellon is a trustee for the Countrywide Alternative Trust. We all know what happened Countrywide, and one of the reasons why I was so fascinated by Mrs. Harris as the president candidate. She's the one that did the moratorium that stopped all the foreclosures. Countrywide was a part of that moratorium. So now you get all this right here, and they're saying that they own all this and they did all this other stuff, and They're claiming this is New Penn is doing business as Shell Point is a servicer for Bank of New York Mellon. But when did Bank of New York Mellon ever get the property? See, none of this was ever brought up in the court because you see these people here, they filed bankruptcy and had to withdraw as a representing attorneys. What was interesting is one of the partners ended up going to prison for embezzlement.
Ooh.
No problem. So he's a crook. So here he is. He said he's an associate attorney or counsel for Moore Snyder, in which that he's guaranteeing they have the note. Interesting. The note and the mortgage should always be together. But at any rate, this is in Pennsylvania, so where is the note at the time? We don't know. I think the mortgage might actually be in Tampa. We don't know because nobody ever made him prove it. What's crazy about it is this Moore Snyder and Whitstead filed bankruptcy and had to withdraw. But if you go on in here, you'll see the Michael Wire and all of them, but they bought the property from Rutland Home Mortgage Company. All these endorsements, we don't even know if these are real endorsements. The lines, which is added, but Rutland, nowhere do you see Bank of New York Mellon anywhere in here. I'm not saying they didn't at some time acquire it, but where? Universal American Mortgage Company, nowhere did they show that they had standing to foreclose. What's even more interesting is once this guy, they filed bankruptcy, a new law firm took over for him, right? The new law firm never got permission from the court to proceed.
So are you potentially pointing out that the county did something wrong? Because you acquired the property from a county or a government.
From Dave, who bought it from the county.
Oh, okay.
Dave bought the property. He bought 4 of them and quit claimed all 4 to me. Nothing's illegal by him buying a property from an auction because either the clerk made a legitimate sale or the clerk sold stolen property.
That's what I was asking.
So here you go. Certificate of title. Here's a certificate of sale. Certifies a public sale of the property, which is Spinnaker, but times 4. So I had 4 properties. Who owns the property now?
Well, you do, because you said he.
No. Who owns it? When he got it from
David.
David owns it, and then David quit claimed it to me, right?
Yeah.
Is there any law broken?
No. Oh.
Okay.
Not at all.
Well, not that I know of,
Well, you mean other than that the clerk may have stolen the clerk may have sold stolen property? That could be an issue. But the clerk does this is a public auction, so there you go. And then he quit claiming it to me. I got to cut this video up 1,000 different ways. So there you go.
Yeah.
I tell people, it's a wild story, but what I think people should be able to get out of everything is, like you see this right here. This is and actually I had this judge in my criminal case too. He recused himself. But if you start to look at it here, I'm going to find this document. This is just a docket information. I know it's in here somewhere. And by the way, even on the writ of possession where they kicked me out the house, when I filed to stop it, he never gave me a hearing. Like I said, there's a whole lot in here. There's the bankruptcy discharge by the wires. I'm going to show you the writ of possession. There you go. Now here's the writ of possession. And keep in mind, when Morris Snyder and Whitstead filed bankruptcy and withdrew, the new attorneys are required to get permission from the court to proceed. That never happened. In theory and in fact, everything that was filed after the first attorneys withdrew is no good. Because the new set of attorneys never got permission from the court to proceed, and that's the rule. That ain't DOS. And it's amazing that this POS Gregory Holder, and I hope somebody tells him I called him that, and I'm sure you heard it at the city council meeting. If you spent that time wondering about me in a application for determination of indigency, but didn't know that you had somebody in front of you that wasn't supposed to be operating until they got an order from the court, That might look a little shady to some people. I'm not that smart though. Also, on the substituted property, I'm gonna show y'all something. What doesn't appear on there, but hold on. Here's a criminal report affidavit. That's where they charge me with perjury. And according to Victor, I filed sworn documents that I signed under penalty of perjury. That's what they used to arrest me. We don't have any documents that I ever signed under penalty of perjury stating I don't own any property or have a source of income. They don't exist. And he doesn't even have a witness statement or a victim statement claiming that they saw me commit some crime. We know that Victor wasn't in any place to see me do anything. So for those who don't know, and we've gotten it here, and we'll condense this document, this thing down. For those who don't get it yet, my issue ain't got nothing to do with the Department of Revenue. Their issue is there's a lot of people with a whole lot of authority that did a whole lot of foolish things. They could give a damn about that child support. So goofball, thank you. You made me famous. Jackass. By the way, each one of these judges were actually touring called with the 5 judges. And I was in front of this guy and this guy. I've been in front of this guy, and this guy was the chief judge. There's no reason for me to have any cases in the 13th Judicial Circuit. And by the way, Paul Huey and Emily Ann Peacock were judges during this time too. So it's reasonable for me to believe I can never get a fair trial in the 13th Judicial Circuit or the 2nd DCA because they all know each other. State's response to the motion in particular, where they say, what is it? However, the state's general response is this. The state cannot adequately respond regarding the phrase he's indigent and don't own any property, as that specific wording is not included in the information or any other discovery. So you people have been trying to shove me in prison for something that never existed.
Right.
Nash disqualified himself. Y'all saw that. Vicar wrote a letter to the chief judge because one of our circuit court judges is listed as a witness for the state of Florida in the above referenced perjury case in which the defendant is self-represented. I don't know what that means. It appears the proper administration of justice requires that a circuit judge from outside the 13th be appointed to preside over the case. He respectfully requests you appoint a circuit judge from somewhere else. This is when Jorge Lombardo, the chief, I call him judge, but he's actually chief justice of the Supreme Court, the chief judge for the 13th Judicial Circuit. He sends it to me and him. The Florida Supreme Court steps in on my behalf and assigns a different judge from somewhere else. Chief Justice's document. And here's a transcript from the case where they actually say they were combining, they're trying to combine things to create a claim against me. And where he says they don't actually have me saying it. But anyway, we all understood something. The case was actually, what happened to the case in the end? Since I never won anything.
Your case or their case? I mean,
No, remember, I've never won anything anywhere. What happened to the case?
Well, it was dismissed. I mean, you got over the charges, the perjury charges.
It was dismissed.
Yeah.
Forget all the other cases I may have won or had favorable outcomes in. But I would say this, I would argue that people who, like myself, who think that this is an issue, and by the way, Judge Holder had just been previously reprimanded for ex parte communications. But when I asked the JQC to look into the case of what he did, they didn't want to touch mine. The reason this one was looked into is because he tried to step down on the president of the University of South Florida, and she wasn't having it. But she has the power to make people move. I don't have that. But the facts are here. So anybody who wants to look at anything for me, it's all right here. And if anybody says I'm lying, and by the way, this is another case I won, where I was showing why the city of Tampa has a history of filing false police reports. This guy arrested me claiming that I didn't have any, the car wasn't registered or some other shit. This is Cicerelli. I kicked his ass in court. In fact, the state attorney said they tried like 20 some times to get in touch with him. He never came to court. The case was dismissed. You can actually hear that inside the Conrad folder.
Like you got so much evidence. I don't know why you haven't got some big bucks from the county.
Because
This malicious
people,
prosecution stuff.
the malicious prosecution shouldn't even be a question, right?
Yeah.
You brought the action. You brought the action. You had no probable cause. Dude, it's crazy, bro. It's
Yeah,
Oh,
insane.
I'm
But I
the
just I
frustrated for
wanted to
time.
you.
do this. I wanted to do this for my man, my fellow DJ, and because we were just like, man, I need to tag all this stuff and let people see the links. But you can all pull
That's
this up. And by
that's
the
a
way,
fact. But if you moving the way you moving, like you're not gonna be looked at as if you're doing the right thing. Like you're gonna be looked at like you kind of a problem. Like you kind
well,
of something that we don't want around and we don't want to deal with. Like you're not gonna be uplifted. It's gonna
well,
be it's gonna be just the opposite. Like you a problem.
here you go. Let me show you something. And their problem with me ain't child support one more time, is it? They don't care about that child support shit.
Yeah. Don't say just child support because that's not the problem.
Now, see, the substitution of counsel, Bank of New York Mellon as trustee, hereby moves to substitute the undersigned counsel of the record. The firm Bush, White, and Norton has been obtained to assume legal representation. So that's cool to be substituting, but you still need an order from the count. If it's an attorney from the same firm, they can change. When it's an attorney from a different firm or a different firm, you need an order from the court. Y'all look that up. Don't take my word for it. Appearance by attorney may appear in a proceeding, substitution of counsel, but only by order of the court and with written consent of the client filed with the court. There's no order. But here's what's even more interesting, and I'm not smart like all you smart people like y'all and people who done so much talking, but Michael Wire, just for reference, see Michael Wire in Spinnaker? We know he lived at Spinnaker, that's the property. Y'all see Michael Wire's name at the bottom of that list right there?
Yeah. Oh, I actually don't. Is it supposed to be there?
Yeah, if they're substituting for him. So maybe that's the problem, bro. And
Hmm.
this happened 5 times. I mean, 4 times, people.
Mm. I mean, what do you want at the end of this?
Be on my shit back.
Okay. Reasonable.
Well, the thing is, it's still procedural because they took property from Chagret Doss, and Chagret Doss has never been to court. They just wiped my name off the books. Wonder what's in those 7,000 emails now, don't we?
Yeah. Wait, you never got those, or you know that they exist, but you never got them?
Well, they wanted $10,000, but why would I have to ask for $10,000, pay $10,000 when I asked for them in discovery when you were prosecuting me? That would be Brady, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not smart like you guys, but I don't have one of these fancy screen names or nothing like that. I just gotta go by Chagret and Squid. Notice of appearance, designated counsel. See that? No order from the court. Don't take my word for it.
You know what? You 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 know what I think?
I
To
still can't
answer
hear you. You gotta move closer to your document, to your thing.
to answer the question of what he asked, I
Which
think
one?
I think it's more of a like and he probably would agree. Like just Greg being Greg, like it's not more of a want, it's just more of a like I just will never lay down and let y'all have y'all way. Like I
Oh, I'm
always
not even
step
built like
in.
that. Now that's different. I am that 1 in 10,000. Oh yeah. That's no. I'm Django. Yeah.
I'm Django. Okay. I'm
Yeah, like
dead.
But I am willing to
I'm
I'm willing
definitely
to
not
resolve.
disrespecting his question. I know what he was asking,
No,
and I know.
okay.
I just think Greg is just more of a like till I hit the grave. Like this fight is this fight. Like it is what it is. When you say like what do you want? It's not more of a want. It's just more of a we gonna do this until I hit the dirt.
Or we can resolve it. I'm not trying to be
Do you
famous.
think they will resolve it though?
I don't know. Like you would think that if what I would think is if people take the time to let other people know, like politicians, people like become more civically active, then these kind of things would be less likely to go on. Because they say publicity is the soul of justice. You see, I get 3 times the actual value. So let's go to Zillow and see what kind of numbers we're talking about.
Oh, you're talking about triple? You get triple damages?
Yeah, so let's go to Zillow.
So that makes me question. So do you think that like as far as faith go, that people will have faith in humanity and do the right things?
So that's what Zillow, so that's what they say this is worth.
Times three.
Spinnaker.
Okay, 1.5 mil.
Okay, not to mention, how did you sell it to whoever has it now? If you never
Mm.
divested me of ownership, how did it clear title? I'm waiting for you, macadamia.
I'm just, you're probably pointing to something they really don't want publicity on. So,
This is my other property.
oh, another almost 1.5 mil. Okay. All right. 12. 1.2 mil. That's still nice.
That's not their address. Yeah, this is actually the house. Hold on a second. Let's see, try to get my right property because I think it's 127 Bramfield. 127. Oh, there it is. That's it. Yeah, I didn't remember my property and shit. Never had a day in court, yet lost all 3 properties, all 4 properties. Not one day in court. So not only did I lose my actual properties, I also lost any kind of residual income that could have been garnered through rental and what have you. So you're talking about generational wealth, right?
Yeah. That's like 5 mil that you just lost. Well, when you do the triple to all of them.
And pain and suffering. Not to
Yeah.
mention they're ready to shoot me to get me out of Spinnaker. They came 7 deep. I didn't do anything. I just said, y'all here to put on a writ of possession, right? We're here to take you out. Bruh. You know what I'm saying? What are we talking about, man? So these are things that anybody can look up. So the thing, and again, there's the perjury issue. Whoever makes a false statement, which he or she does not believe to be true, under oath in an official proceeding that relates, no, that's not it.
Is this a felony or is this a misdemeanor?
No, what they charged him was a felony. That's why looking at prison time.
Mm.
That's it. Whoever makes a false statement he or she does not believe to be true under oath in an official proceeding in regards to any material matter commits a felony of the third degree and is 5 years punishable in Florida State Prison. That's what I was charged with. And you can hear the proceedings even from the judge's audio that's inside that proceeding inside my Dropbox. You can hear the audio. That's actually me. And we still don't know how you all sold those properties without divesting me of ownership legal. You just wiped me off the books.
So
So,
is this case in federal or state case or
well,
state
the
court?
malicious prosecution in federal court, I haven't even filed the action for the violation of the 14th Amendment. I mean, the 5th, 9th Amendment and 14th for deprivation of property without due process. Not to mention when it comes to not only Spinnaker, when it comes to Tuscany, I'm going to show you something. Five years, right? From the default date, right?
Oh,
Because
you're not sharing.
where's Greg going with this, right?
You're not sharing right now. I just see you.
Oh, my bad. Statute of limitations for filing a foreclosure action.
Yeah, 5 years.
The default, right? What's the people's name? I mean, come on. See this thing. What was it? We're talking clear side, right? I'm trying to think what the name it was because this is a little bit strange. This house I'm about to tell y'all about, clear side. The people who used to own it just, from my understanding, just disappeared. I don't know what that's just about. And DJ Squid really doesn't win enough. That was weird. Let's see. That's not it. What's this lady's name? Yeah, I'm trying to think of what was this lady's fucking name? Go back. Sorry, people. What is her name? I'm looking at Montesino. Oh, that's not who I'm looking for. I'm tripping, man. It's Tesco. Not Montesino didn't disappear. Uh, I can't even remember the people's names who own Tuscany. Um, Shoot. Delfino Barrios, that's what it is.
So how long ago
Okay.
did you get dispossessed of your properties?
Um, 16 and 17, 16, 17, and 18.
Oh, dang, it's been a minute.
Yeah, so I think if nothing else, even if you don't want to give me back the properties, I probably have a pretty good amount of money for market value for rent and loss, everything else. Plus, they're not lawfully in possession of the property. Like this writ of possession, this is a Tuscany house. But let me show y'all something. This will probably blow your mind too. What's the statute of limitations?
5 years. Oh my goodness. 2005.
May 1st, right? 2010.
2010, yeah.
The default exists for the payment May 1st, 2010. How many years again?
5 years.
When
Yeah,
was it filed?
they didn't operate with due diligence, so they lost their opportunity if even if they did have a legitimate claim.
And they could even bring it back. But when did they file it?
Ooh, I don't know when did they what was that? I don't remember. 2016?
No.
Oh, 2015. Sorry, right in front of me.
What day? What month?
Is that September 16th?
5 years from that would be May 1st, 2015, right?
Yeah.
So they got a problem, right? So what would happen to the order for this? What does that make this order?
Void, right?
Oh,
Void, right?
Yeah, void. Well, shouldn't you just be able to void that out and then all your problems go away?
They would not allow me, but they sold the property, which comes back to the bigger question. How did you sell the property if you didn't properly divest me of ownership and you have a void? That's a facial void, isn't it? You can just look at the docket. You know, when it's facial, there's no excuse, right? And by the way, that means they never went to court and even presented to the court that, hey, judge, this happened this way. So do you think they really care about me helping y'all with child support? You know, they had to just throw something at the wall, right? To kind of get my attention off of all this stuff.
Mm. Deflection.
There you go. There's plenty more, and we can go into some of the other stuff that I've done, but I'm pretty sure that people would be upset to know that they're still in houses. And the crazy thing is, all of these properties were properties that were part of that mortgage foreclosure crisis in 2000. So, you know, these are the properties that the taxpayers bailed out the insurance companies, even though the insurance companies paid the banks when the property had been foreclosed. I mean, had been defaulted. And you can't get the money through insurance and keep the property because that's would be unjust enrichment, right? You can't have the money in the property. So you're talking about times four with me, right? And all
Yeah.
I did was say, hey, even if they said, okay, Macadamia owns a house, Mac owns a house. Mac owed us X number of dollars. The insurance company gave us 80%. Hey, Greg, you need to shoot us at 20%. Now, Greg could give you that and say, get it like Drac. All they could do is lean up the property. They couldn't put me in the streets, right?
Yeah.
So there you go, people. My issues are a lot different than child support, although the child support successes are there. And those child support additional actions have nothing to do with the merits of the case. I just don't give a damn. But my litigation record is pretty extensive, I guess we can see, right?
Yes,
With
sir.
child support being child support, you
I
getting
can't hear him
past
at all.
with child support being child support and you getting past that, do you feel like
One more. Your mic is
actions
down.
that's
Turn your mic
taken?
up. Turn up your levels on your mic.
Hold on. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
With the actions of child support being child support and you dealing with that though, do you feel like on the outside of that, you dealing with certain situations, you feel like that's a retaliation of everything that's going on in your life?
Oh, you mean the letter, the whole not wanting to give the orders for? Well, I think that there's some
That's retaliation,
retaliation.
period.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. But the retaliation because of what I not only did with Holder, but it's not only so much of what I've done; it's actually what I know and can reasonably articulate. And I'm pretty sure we all know that they wouldn't want no jury to hear any of this, right? You can't because
Behind
the
what you
facts,
know, do you feel like you being targeted?
of course, and I'm being targeted. I'm probably being more targeted because they would rather me not. They don't want 10 out of every 30 guys to be inquisitive enough to want to go and learn the information. That becomes a problem, doesn't it?
I know. I just wanted the people to know.
I'm not being funny, but what if 10% of everybody in every county had the same basic understanding of the law that I do?
Can I hear accountability?
And I'm not just talking about the law as it relates to child support or this other stuff. I mean, just your constitution, the importance of your voting. They don't want people politically involved and politically engaged. I'm positive they don't want people running up into the what do you call that thing? They probably don't want people running downtown to their city council meetings acting like I do in there either, right? And definitely don't want them acting like Crunk Man acts in there. I'm just, keeping 1 million. And for those who don't know, I don't know if you can do if the channel allows me to do that, but let's do like this,
Or even more, you extend your hand and reaching out to people to the point to where they can understand, like, nope, they would not want 100 of you in every city.
I don't think they would want that either. But if people have not taken the time to study my channel, so to speak, y'all see the channel with the courtroom battles and stuff. So anybody who wants to just watch what I've done inside of courtrooms, hear stuff with all kinds of cases and things that I've said, I don't know what this shouldn't even be in here. Oh, that was why you're gonna keep complaining. You're gonna take some action, but you can hear me inside of courtrooms and all kinds of proceedings. To include whether it's child support. There's audio inside my Dropbox. You can hear stuff. This oral argument was terrible, but the case with Smallwood.
The facts is the facts, though.
Oh yeah, the facts are the fact. And at the end of the day, what's most important, I'll make it simple because I have other things to really talk about. Get there, I had to go and file for. I just want them to give me the order that I'm entitled to. But for those who didn't know, real quick, when was the case filed, Macadamia?
Which one?
This case you're looking at here.
Is it? Does it say it somewhere?
Are you? Oh, my bad. Wait a minute. You should be looking at.
The YouTube screen. That's what I'm looking at. Oh, now I see something. Yep. Yeah. In wait, 1995.
You're familiar with this case, right?
This is your child support?
Smallwood, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What happened in
February of kind of
what happened?
amended petition. I don't know what happened there. It says converted event, amended petition. You amended the
How many
petition.
days? Is it more than 120 days between this date and this date?
Oh, yeah, a lot. Yeah,
What's the rule?
with
What's
regards
the
to amending a complaint.
amending complaint or what? Service of process? How many days do you have to serve process?
I mean, isn't it 14 days? 30 days for a lawsuit, right?
120.
Oh,
20.
how many days to answer a complaint? Oh, yeah, I thought it was, yeah, 20 days. Initials. Otherwise, you can get a summary judgment or a default. 120. Whoa.
20.
Defendant typically has 20 days
To
after.
respond. So if you don't do it, and this rule is different now than it was then, but it's still the same thing.
Mandatory dismissal without prejudice.
So just because I know when people are smart, they know what they're doing, even when it comes to being deceptive. What was required by law once this didn't happen?
It'd be dismissed with
So
prejudice. With what it said without prejudice,
without
though.
prejudice, that's fine. But what do they do? How many days between this date and this date? More than 120?
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, not following the
In
rules.
between this date and this date, more than 120.
Oh, oh yeah.
So what would it make this order if the mother or the petitioning party did not have minimal contact with the state of Florida?
Uh, Void. But
Boy,
we've talked about
No, well,
subrogation.
I know, but subrogation wouldn't work if there's no minimal contact. Oh, I
Oh,
know what you're looking for. Hold on. Let's do this. I don't like to. You're trying
like
to
when
be funny. Macadamia's trying to be funny. He's not slipping. You're wrong for this, Macadamia.
I was just asking a question. There's this magic word called subrogation that gives the state the ability to do whatever they want, apparently.
For a person in their state, right?
Should be.
No, in their state. That'd be a different question, right?
Uh,
In their
yeah,
state. In their state.
yeah, in their state, it should. It
So
should.
if the person that is pursuing it is from a foreign state, which state would have to serve process? Oh, Terry Parks. Okay. Oh, my bad.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily true. If another state sues another citizen, it's just there's a diversity of jurisdiction. So you could go to the Supreme Court. That's that's how that ends up.
You
That's
mean
why.
the Supreme meaning the circuit court?
No, I'm saying when an instance like that happens, the Supreme Court can take original jurisdiction.
You're
That's why
saying,
state that's why
ooh,
states don't do that.
Start from where it start from.
so who would have had to serve me the original complaint?
So a state of North Carolina. We're,
So now we got an issue, don't we?
what the
That's a
This
deuce?
fact.
was this was never served.
All right. See, they were messing things up back in the day too.
Oh, something just happened.
This is wild.
Why? We just get off of YouTube.
I don't know.
My YouTube just went away. Okay, you're back. So there we go, buddy. You all
So is
right
that
now? Is everybody okay now?
uh
No.
I got so many questions, but we could we
But here's the point. Anybody who wanted to show something could show it all. There was never a petition ever served. And I would understand for those who don't know, if North Carolina served, I can't hear you, Macadamia. If
oh, I
North
didn't know.
Carolina, if North Carolina had served me properly, I don't do anything. North Carolina can then get default, then transfer the order to Florida. That would be proper. Does everybody understand that? If that doesn't happen, nobody's explained where Florida would get jurisdiction because Miss Smallwood never lived in Florida.
Mm.
And then we know Florida, even if she tried to serve it through Florida, which we know Amanda McCarthy lied because she didn't file the action in Florida. We now know that, right? You okay, Macadamia?
I'm not okay because none of it
Is,
makes sense. None of it makes sense.
are you okay, J Mac? Or no? J Mac might have passed out, like he might have just dropped off the
Nah, I'm Mac. You said J Mac, but I hear you though.
Mac. Are you Mac? Are
Nah,
you?
nah, I'm here. I'm
But you're
listening.
not. Are you okay with understanding what happened, or is everybody still below that?
No, no,
So,
I completely understand.
so when somebody shows something to make a point, make sure you know what point you're trying to make. This has nothing. My issues have nothing to do with that. That's a void order. I think we all understand that. In fact, Denton even said that, didn't he?
I remember that video, yeah.
Yeah. Why does it matter 20 years later? It's a void order. Okay. And then what did he do? He quit, right?
Mm.
So hopefully everybody will chop this thing down and make it a little easier to understand. But if you got a few hours, take a few days to go through all this, and you'll be sufficiently informed to know that the the issues I have are not what issues that most self-represented litigants would ever have. And some people may think they are, but they're not close to where I am when it comes to this as a pro se litigant. And what we also know is I've been doing it for a long time, a long, long time. Um, Stay with it, and you'll be able to appreciate what the journey provides you. Uh, any questions, gentlemen? Anything y'all on your mind? Anything anybody want to raise or talk about?
I just want to say for educational purposes only, I learned a lot.
Well, I hope it made it clear for people. So that's what's what I hope. That being said, Macadamia, you can go get some rest. Mac, you can get some Mac, you kind of went out and you gotta hit your unmute button. And you gotta work on your levels, Mac, Mac, because
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
I gotta figure it out.
But I think we kind of cleared up everything. If anybody needs anything that came from this two DJs speaking, and that one of them is the 1 in 10,000, that 1 in 10,000, just reach out to us and we can get it to you. I appreciate you stopping by, Macadamia, because your confused look is always entertaining to me. I won't toot my own horn, but toot. And hopefully people are clear as to who you're dealing with. Take some time to share, like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to do something for me, more important than paying dollars and cents, call your local representatives and say, hey, there's a massive issue with ethics in the state of Florida, and particularly Hillsborough County. The facts support what Mr. Doss says, and if not, he shouldn't be getting PCAs. He should be getting some sort of scathing orders that outline the legal reasons why I don't have the arguments that I've raised in my lawsuits, which are seeking upwards of 8 figures. State Farm is a large auto insurance company who allows their attorneys to solicit VA doctors to operate as expert witnesses against veterans. We know that. Go to some of the other videos, you'll see that. We also understand that in the 13th Judicial Circuit in Fort Hillsborough County, Florida, I was ordered by a judge to sign a release that included parties that were not part of the underlying litigation, that had not had representation appear on the record. We know that the Second District Court of Appeals canceled my oral arguments, although they're fully aware that attorneys that represent State Farm Auto Insurance Company, coming from Banker Lopez Gassler, or Banker Gassler Lopez, whoever it is, as well as attorneys from Butler, Watermeadow, Cass, and Craig and HD Law, have filed meritless documents and defended meritless documents, not only in the 13th Judicial Circuit, but in the Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals has held water for them. There's a reason why they didn't want me to come in for that next oral argument, because as I stated in the last oral argument to, I forgot the judge's name of the Second District Court of Appeals, she asked me a question, and I said, well, Your Honor, the more I do this, the more savvy I get. Those oral arguments are me. Okay, so you hit the button, you see me in front of the 3-judge panel, I've done that. Have I been in the county court? Yes. Have I been in traffic court? Yes. Absolutely. I've won at them at all those levels. I've litigated. Yes. Have I won auto negligence cases? Yeah. So, that being said, thank you to Mac, DJ Mac, and Macadamia. But it's always important. Sometimes it's not about right or wrong. More importantly, it's about clarity. You never reach resolution if you're not willing to engage in honest dialogue, even if the dialogue is with yourself. Take time to hug the person you love the person you hug, on behalf of GD non-attorney? Well, actually, on behalf of being that 1 in 10,000, I'm also Greg Doss. I'm also DJ Squid. And I'm saying also on behalf of, there we go, GD non-attorney pro se consultants, I'm saying peace.